Welcome back to another Pit Wall Chat. How are you doing today?
Great. Like after this race, can't be any better.
Me neither. That's obviously what we're going to talk about in this podcast. It's the Bahrain Grand Prix, the first of the 2021 season.
Yeah.
It's your first reaction after just watching the race 14 minutes ago?
Like very excited until the end. It was so close. Slightly frustrated because I really thought Max would overtake. Well, he overtook him, but yeah, I'm 90% happy that it was so fun and close and exciting, and 10% like, oh.
Yeah, I'm there with you. To be honest, it's I'm not very mad that it ended up because it's so close. So then I don't really care if Mercedes won or not, but I kind of care. So I would have wanted Red Bull to win, but
well, especially when Mercedes has first and third place, like it's already starting pretty well for the constructor championship.
Yeah, they're finally quick off the start, which is good. So I think it's gonna be fun to watch if all the races are like this.
Yeah, that's a very good start.
A hell of a season with 23 races as well.
Yeah, that's true. It's very long compared to last season had 17.
17, I think.
Yeah, so it's like 6 more.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we'll have to wait until the latter part of the season to know that Lewis is gonna win.
That would be great. I still believe Max will take it.
This year?
Yeah.
That's the thing, though. The last year was pretty much, it's either going to be Lewis or it's going to be Valtteri. And, Max was up there, but he was third, quite behind the both Mercedes cars.
Mm-hmm.
And this year, even though, we hear commentators saying, oh, Valtteri, this is the year for him or whatever. Is it, though?
Well, more than anything, this year, I think they say it's his last shot of getting the title. But from what we see, it's going to be more like this is Red Bull's year to take it from Lewis. Well, take the fight to Lewis.
Yeah, it's the year between Verstappen and Hamilton. It's not really the year between Hamilton and Bottas or Hamilton, Bottas, and Verstappen. It's really...
Yeah. It's still early days, though.
It is.
But if we're gonna take the race from today and give a prognosis for the rest of the season, that's it seems like that's what is happening. Bottas is a bit lacking behind on pace.
Well, it was also very unlucky that the pit stop.
Yeah, the pit stop didn't help, but I feel like during the race he was 7 seconds, then he was climbing up to Max again and then had a horrible pit stop. But he was lacking a bit of pace during some parts of the race.
That's true. I'm a bit sad for Perez. Well, not sad because he came from behind last to fifth, so that's pretty great. Like that's a almighty recovery drive. But it'd be nice if he could start up there and finish up there to sort of ruin the plans of Mercedes and create an interesting strategy, because it was still yet again 2 black cars against the Dutch Lion, as they called him.
It would be nice if the second driver of Red Bull could just have a clean weekend for once.
No, there's a curse. I don't know who put that on them.
It's done alright in FP1 to FP3, I think, and then quali obviously. If you haven't watched the race or quali, got kicked out in Q2, started P11, had an odd electrical problem or something with his display before the race and had to start from the pit lane. So all things considered, 5th place.
Oh yeah, that's
amazing. Is not too bad, but
it's last time in Bahrain he started last and finished first. So.
Yeah, but a lot more happened. But yeah, I think from Red Bull's perspective, I feel like Albon did some of that as well. Albon had some started far down, and could end up in 5th, 6th, and overtaking, but that was the argument against him. It's he shouldn't have to overtake this in the first place. And in terms of Red Bull, it's worth nothing because they want to win.
Yeah.
And if you're not up there to help Max with the Mercedes, it's not worth a lot to them, that 5th place, even though it's a great drive.
Well, with Albon, you couldn't really see why he wasn't doing great on the Saturday, which penalized him on the Sunday. But there didn't appear to be an issue or whatever it was with Sergio. Like, it was clearly the car, and he...
Yeah, but even if the car wouldn't have had that, he still starts P11, which isn't like optimal. Like, you can make your way through, but it's not optimal to go up to the fight.
But if you have a great start and then, you know, you win back some places in there, you know, it's way easier than starting at the, like, 10 seconds behind everyone else.
Yeah.
That's pretty insane.
Yeah, he got a bit lucky with the safety car there in the beginning as well, I would say. Didn't have to start 30 seconds, but could actually catch up.
Yeah, thanks to Mazepin.
Mazepin, yeah. We won't make too much fun of that, but it is kind of fun. It's spun quite a lot already. But yeah.
The Haas must not be easy to drive.
No. Well, pretty good result for Mick as well. Not good, but he's up there ahead of Latifi and Gasly. Gasly had some problems.
Pretty funny, because we put on Instagram, like, I'll podium Max, Lewis, and Gasly.
Yeah.
And then that went out of the window pretty quickly. Yeah. So
as a very regular looking podium, when we look back at it, it's 2020 all over again. When you look at the podium, if you have no context, you look at this and it's like,
yeah, same but different.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess.
Oh,
well, at least it wasn't first Lewis, second Valtteri, third Max. Like, Max nearly had it. It's so annoying because, like, the turn 4 regulation, that leaves me a bit confused because, you know, you could...
you could, but you, at the same time, couldn't. Like, you could, but not
gain an advantage or lasting advantage. But, you know, the Mercedes sort of went off track on turn 4, which is fine as long as you don't gain an advantage. But it's like, if you do it at every single lap and your competitors aren't doing it, then you sort of are gaining a lasting advantage. So I don't see why that was allowed. Like, I don't get it. You know, maybe either you make it allowed or you don't make it allowed, but you don't say, lasting advantage.
Yeah, I think that's the whole thing with the Bahrain. Like, the marshals just have to be strict. Like, this is the rule. Like, don't drive off the track.
Yeah, it was pretty funny how Red Bull...
It's like all through qualifying and everything. What is it?
The Red Bull on the radio is like, Max, you know, go off track on turn 4 because as long as they're not telling Mercedes off about it, then we're gonna do it.
Yeah, clearly just to make the marshals enforce the rule. Yeah. It's like, well, Lewis is going off track, so you can do so as well until told otherwise, which I think is kind of hilarious.
It is pretty smart. I like
all right, jumping down a little bit to the midfield, McLaren, pretty strong race for them.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy that Lando. Well, first of all, finished 4th, which is like quite amazing result, and he finished ahead of Ricciardo, which, like, I like Ricciardo, but I'm sort of rooting for Lando in this teammate battle because he's been with the team for 3 years. Like, it's his 3rd year, and even though I like Ricciardo and he's like a super talented driver and all, like, I think when they came up with the stat for the best drivers or like the fastest drivers of all time, of all times, I think Daniel was up there, behind Max and Lewis, but definitely in the top 10, which is quite impressive because, you know, he didn't win a championship or whatever. Yeah. So it means it's pretty good, but I'm very happy that Lando gets to sort of, you know, show off his skills to his new teammate to say, you know, I know you're a great driver, but this is my 3rd year and I gotta keep my place here. Like, you can come in, we can play nice, but this is my team.
Yeah, I'm kind of rooting for Lando a bit as well, but I hope Ricciardo and Norris can be very close. That would be the best, I feel. Not for one to dominate the other, but for them to be like a bit back and forth, because Ricciardo has more experience, but Lando has more experience with the team, so it should be like a balance. But it would be sad to me if either one got dominated by the other one. I want there to be a back and forth there.
Well, they're both talented, so...
Yeah.
But it's sort of similar to what's happening in Ferrari, which, they did extremely well this race.
Not bad.
Well, way better than what I was expecting.
Leclerc 6th and Sainz 8th.
Yeah, but it's sort of the same thing, a tiny bit toned down, because Leclerc, same, third season with the team, and Sainz comes in, he has a bit more experience. I think this is his 6th season, so double the experience, but so a bit less experience than Ricciardo, but it's sort of mirroring what's happening in McLaren.
But both with new teams, and I think overall those two were like the winners of the midfield today. Ferrari clearly has taken a step forward, and that's a bit like we talked about last time, that as long as they show some progression from last year, their fans will probably follow. It's 2022 that counts for them now, but as long as they show some progress, which they have, they're up in the points now.
Yeah, that's pretty good, and I'm just a bit sad for Sainz because he was doing so well in Q1 and Q2, and then Leclerc finished 4th, which was pretty great, ahead of Sainz, which qualified 8th. Also, he kept his place throughout the race. There was a lot of action during the race, though. That was so exciting.
I'm tired of it from watching, because it was just battles on battles on battles,
and
for every single position.
pit stops, and you never knew who was where, between the pit stops and the actual battles, the overtaking.
Yeah, I don't think I've even seen a 3-stop strategy before. Maybe we have, but
4 stops for some people.
Yeah, but it's it was a super interesting race, and it was fun to see. For once, strategy was playing into it. So much last season we saw, if you got away from the start quickly, it was basically just the midfield that was going to overtake each other. Up at the front, not so much overtaking, it was just following the pace.
It was so boring.
This time it's the leader changed 5 times or something. It was super fun.
Oh, but Lewis has a new record. F1 is the king of the
useless stats. Sky Sport F1 is the king of all of it, but F1 they have some semi-interesting, but not really relevant. I think, what was it, 5,112 laps led,
which is a new record. Well, a few more now that he won the race. But, greatest driver of all time, they call him. So
another record season.
It's pretty interesting, I find. During the post-race interview, straight after, Lewis, he looked sort of worried that, maybe he was past his glory days, his peak. So hopefully that's not the case, and maybe both him and Max are peaking. But
Max, I think, still has a few years until he's going to be peaking. He's still only 23.
He's only 23, but this is his 6th season.
Yeah, he's done 120 Grand Prix, so he's not a rookie, but he still has some years until he's peaking. And from what we saw from Lewis this race and also last season, I think it's pretty clear that he's not on his way down anytime soon.
No.
He's sort of in a good place now between experience and.
But do you think he's still improving, or has he learned everything he's gonna learn, or?
It's a good question. I don't know, actually. I think no, maybe he is peaking now then, because I don't know how much else he's gonna pick up and learn. But at the same time,
he's almighty though on track. The way he used the turn 4 regulation, I think he fully did that on purpose to because Max was so close. So I think in his head, Lewis was well, you're gonna overtake me in this lap, so might as well, play with the track, and you'll have to go off track, and then maybe you'll get a penalty or something.
Yeah, but I think that's why maybe he's peaking now, because he's so good at putting it all together, his experience and strategy and race pace as well. He just puts it all together now, where even when Max is up and challenging him, that could have been a smart move from Lewis, just to force him out there.
Yeah.
Give him just enough room, but then take it away just the last second. That we don't know, but for sure. But it's hard to say if he's gonna pick up anything else at the moment. I think he's fairly quick at if a mistake has been made, he's registers and then avoids that again. But
seems to be the culture at Mercedes to do that.
Well, not in pit stops, apparently, for Bottas. Another tragic pit stop for Bottas. Poor Bottas.
Yeah.
Oh,
I feel a bit bad.
Yeah. He's not a big fan of Bahrain anymore, I think. Another team we have to talk a bit about, Aston Martin.
Yeah, that's the disappointment of the season, I feel. Well, so far, it's only the first race.
But... Oh, disappointment of the season.
Of the century.
Fucked it all up. No, they've... but quite underwhelming, we can say. Yeah. Stroll in 10th.
Yeah, so 1 point, it's not... It's not nothing.
Not quite where they were last year.
Yeah, but as they said, like the new regulation, like Otmar, which is he's the team principal for Aston Martin, he seemed so mad about the new regulation.
Yeah, they obviously have a low to medium rake car and have therefore been punished a lot by the new regulation.
Well, impacted more than cars like Red Bull or AlphaTauri.
Yeah, so, but it looked fairly strong in overtaking in some parts of the race. I just think they need to fix their setup.
Yeah, and
they
like
didn't get to do a lot of training.
Seb qualified 18th and then started with a penalty and started 20th.
Yeah, and then 15th, so it was a bit up, at least.
Yeah, but because it started so far back, then the strategy, like they had to get creative, and I don't know if it necessarily paid off finishing 15th.
No, he also had the altercation with Esteban Ocon there.
Yeah,
he probably lost some time, and then it was just preserving.
Oh, and I think he got a penalty, or at least the FIA was investigating.
Yeah, that's true.
Because Seb was at fault, it seemed.
Yeah, it looked pretty clear. But I'm very excited to see what they can come up with the rest of the season. Hopefully they can get back to where they were last season, up there fighting for the top 3. Maybe with the McLaren and Ferrari. And even though very, very underwhelming, AlphaTauri can also be up there in the battle for third, fourth.
I think another very underwhelming start is Alpine.
Yeah.
Well, Fernando didn't even finish, so not great. But can happen. It happened so many times to Red Bull last season that it's not really such a bad sign.
No.
But Ocon then finished 13.
Yeah.
That's like barely in front of George Russell, and he's in a Williams, so.
It kind of shows that maybe Daniel was right to leave Alpine.
Oh, for sure, with McLaren doing better.
Yeah, but it was a bit like last season. He took a couple of podiums. The car looked pretty strong in short circuits, and Cyril was very on like, oh, you haven't seen what we have coming in the pipeline, like.
Yeah, and they were clearly in the fight for third with Racing Point and McLaren.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just beaten by a couple of points.
Well, yeah, in the end.
Yeah.
A bit more, but very close championship points wise.
Mm-hmm.
But doesn't seem to be the case. I don't know why. Like, do you think they got hit hard by the new regulations as well, or they seem to have quite a thick wind tunnel or whatever?
Yeah. Turban on top there. I don't know. I think they do best on low downforce. They did best on the low downforce circuits last year, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
So it shouldn't have impacted them that much.
Right.
But it is like last season. That is like they're up there fighting. They just have a reliability problem.
Yeah, true. I guess
it's every time like it's so strong. But Daniel, we're in position several times last year as well. But just ends up not being able to do it because he DNFs. And Ocon, I don't know if he's driving the car enough on the limit to DNF it, but then he's not going to be in that mix really either. I think they'll come higher, but it's going to be a real battle in the midfield this year because there's a lot of teams that are looking very good.
Well, a battle at the top, a battle in the middle, a battle at the end. That's what we want. It's just you never know. Well, Haas doesn't seem too strong, but
we kind of expected that, so it's not.
Yeah, Mick did well.
Yeah, he's like 2 places up.
Mm.
No, well, he's 16th, but with 2 DNFs. Latifi, I don't know what's going on with him.
Well, he has money. That's what's up.
I want to believe that he's there for some other reason. Like he did well in F2, I think, but yeah. He's just not getting that Williams to work for him, is he?
Well, it takes George Russell to have the car somewhat work for you.
Yeah.
But Latifi almost out-qualified George, and then George put a last lap in and got into Q2, so...
Yeah, another Mr. Saturday moment for him.
I guess.
Ended 14th, so not too bad. He was running in the points for a while.
Yeah, but
was missing a pit stop.
Yeah,
he was running long on his mediums, I think, or hard when he was driving.
Yeah, so do you think he has a good shot next year at Mercedes, George? Like I don't believe the rumor of Max and George racing for Mercedes next year, because the strategy of the team seems to be sort of a harmonious mix, which is sort of what they have with Lewis and Valtteri, because Valtteri is sort of nice enough to accept the second place, which it says is not, but I think not that he's accepting second place, but I think he's a good soldier that tend to listen to the team better than most drivers will. So I don't think they would get that with Max and George.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible to have harmony in that sense with Max and the team. He's such like a brute force. I feel like he's like a shark. Yeah. And it's gonna be. I don't think Max is gonna switch either. If Red Bull is able to take the fight like this to Mercedes, I don't see a reason for him to quit either.
Well, with Honda leaving Formula 1, so next year is sort of in the air for Red Bull.
Yeah, but if they're ahead of Mercedes at the end of the season with the engine, like they're a bit ahead now, it seems. They have more power. Yeah,
I guess it all depends also, it depends on two things. Either on if Red Bull can top Mercedes this year, and if Lewis is going to retire, because if he doesn't, then...
Yeah. Well, I think, anyways, there's going to be a spot open at Mercedes next year. There's either Lewis is going to retire, and they keep Bottas for some stability, or Lewis stays, but then I don't think they keep Bottas, or I don't think Bottas should want to stay if he doesn't win this year.
Yeah.
He's got to try something else. Maybe sign with Red Bull. Who knows? But
I doubt Red Bull would sign him.
I doubt it too. But
that's the thing. Like, it's nice, and it's not a bad driver at all. But I haven't seen him. Like, I'm talking, from my living room. I've never driven a car in my entire life, so it feels a bit weird to judge, one of the 20th best on the planet.
Yeah.
But from my spectators' eyes, he doesn't seem to be up there skill-wise as a driver. Like, he's been second in the championship for a few seasons, probably since he started in Mercedes, but it doesn't seem to be thanks to his skills necessarily, but more because he has the strongest car on track, or at least he did until this season. So it's not such a clear cut this season, with Red Bull being clearly up there. So maybe Mercedes will be more tempted to disrupt the harmony and go for a bit of a competition within the team to, guarantee points for the team, which is better. It's better to win the constructor championship with a bit of a competition within the team than not win a constructor championship at all.
Yeah. Well, I think it looks to me that it looks a bit more like Red Bull last year, where it's a bit trickier car for Mercedes, and then it shows that Lewis is really the number one there. Valtteri is struggling more, doesn't have as much pace. Seems like it's sort of like reversed roles with Red Bull, in the sense that he's more up there than Albon was last year, but at the same time he was still a bit off the pace today. But I guess we'll have to see in Imola next week. No, not next week, in like a month or something. It's so F1, if you're listening to this is not okay. You waited for so long, and then you have a month.
Well, to be honest, we started with the season last year, and that was abnormally close races.
Yeah, it was a lot of triple headers.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we've been a bit spoiled, and we have to learn patience.
Yeah. Well, all in all, I think it was a really good race.
Yeah.
I hope this continues.
So good. When you don't know who's gonna win the race, that's...
Yeah, and when it's like 7/10 of who wins and second place.
Yeah.
That's
pretty crazy. Like, up until the very last corners, you weren't sure.
Yeah. That was like, Max can do it. Lewis can lock up.
Yeah. Didn't happen.
Didn't happen, of course. Well, should we stop it there?
Yes. We'll see you next week.
next
yes.
Sunday. Yeah, next Sunday. For some more F1 news, gossip, and stuff.
And stuff. Are you sold on the idea? Let's discuss stuff next Sunday.
Yeah, I have it written down here and discuss stuff for next week.
Perfect. See you Sunday.
Bye.